Hey, we're live.
Popped out
you know, in the old days, when it said you're live, there was probably like a 30-second delay, but you're actually live when it says you're live now. It's no joke. And here we are. We've already got 46 people in the chat. Welcome to the pre-NAB Camera and Flask, episode 23 already. I was hoping we hit 25 at NAB, but that's impossible if we're at 23. Though Ben would argue otherwise. He probably thinks we've done 50 episodes by now. Let's do some shout outs. We've got a 360 grad, of course, Akshay, Bill, Pan, and we've got Larry. We've got David and Bushido, Photo, Michael Schmidt. Hey, Michael. Andre, and we've got Jeremy and Kyle. Did I say Kyle already? I don't think so. The film guy, Milan, Tony, a lot of people here. Dan's here, even though Ben is on an airplane and all that fun stuff. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Slavik, there you are. You look like you're, huh?
Hello, I'm coming live from my villain HQ, my evil villain. I just wanted to emphasize. I wanted to emphasize who's in charge here, and clearly I am. So
well framed, sir.
Yeah, it's apropos with the release of the new Joker trailer too. I think that you could basically just be the stand-in. And Caleb, how's things? You just got off a live stream, didn't you?
Yeah, things are good. Yeah, just still not happy with this lighting setup, but we'll tweak it. We'll get it dialed in.
I like it.
Thank you.
Just do what I do and F it up every week. Hey, Sky.
Oh, please.
Welcome. Hey, Sean. What do you mean you retracted your message, Sean? But welcome. Glad to see you here on the live stream. And Matt's here. And let's go. Yeah, this is exciting. So, gentlemen, this is it. I mean, this is our pilgrimage. And the reason it's funny to see you in your regular spot because I think Ben was in your spot last week. Wait, Slavik, were you in the middle or where were you?
You know what? I'm usually on top, but I prefer on top.
That's way too much information for me, but thank you very much.
What are we talking about?
We're sideways. This is it. Only 2 weeks in a row for you.
Yeah, I'm officially fired from this show.
You're like taking 360 grad spot.
Yeah.
Who I see in there? What's up?
Where's
Bart? How you doing?
Part-Time Films is here. Everybody just take a breath. Deep breath. Just relax. It's okay. And then where's the Grumpy Penguin, though? That's the upsetting part about all of this.
That is. We can't relax.
The penguin will be here. Just wait.
Maybe Penguin seems like a nice guy or gal, too. But it's Grumpy Penguin. So
we've actually determined that the Grumpy Penguin is a guy. I think there was a whole thread going once. Though online, anybody can be anybody.
It's true.
Good. So, are you packed already, Caleb? What's the deal?
No, but I'm leaving tomorrow late. We fly out. We leave at like 8 p.m. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, I got time.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's crazy. What is this? Check this out. I started using the Sony AVX MKE2 and NUX wireless transmitter receiver combo for boom poles direct into Atomos Ninja 5. Works great for my one-man show. Awesome. Slavik today with a kind of socialistic background. He's Ukrainian. Of course he's going to have a socialistic background. What are you talking about? Amazing. I love it.
Just setting a new precedent for vlogging. You know, people want it to be homey, home office. I want the opposite. You know, CEO of a global conglomerate kind of vlog. You know,
it's like Pinky in the Brain over here.
Nerf.
I just wish you would have sat like in the far right chair in the distance and did the whole stream from there.
So much
like
better.
Just like looking off into the fireplace with like a drink and there's a fire going.
Yes. Caleb,
Austin Powers meets Mr. Robot. What?
We joked with Ben last week that because Jem and I are kind of close, we thought about doing the show in the same room, but in different cameras. And at the very end, like minute 55, Jem walks over and gets into my frame.
That would be wonderful.
It'd be amazing.
So good.
So good. I can't stop laughing just thinking about what you're saying, Caleb. How funny would it be if Slavik was sitting on the top of that little fire mantle, like on the mantelpiece, and it was just panned up a little? He's like Gollum. Oh no, he's doing it.
We're just pacing in the distance. Here we go.
Yeah.
Just the whole stream from there, a wireless lab, but he never looks at the camera the whole time.
Never. No,
Yeah.
he just, that's
Just
amazing.
like that.
I
Yep.
agree. I agree.
Slowly.
Yeah.
You can stay there if you want. I'm fine with that.
Can
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, Caleb, but that's pretty good. Hey, guys. Hey, John. Love the show. Quick question. If you had 4K to spend on a production studio monitor, which one would you look at? Sumo, Small HD, any others you would think about? $4,000.
That's
Pretty
a
good
nice
budget.
little, yeah.
Yeah. Wait till NAB. I own the 1703, the P3 version, which I like very much. But I'm hoping that manufacturers are going to start to bump the res a little bit here so we can get 1-to-1 in terms of pixels. Because we're all shooting UHD well, not all, but most of us are shooting UHD 4K for productions. A lot of us are doing it even for the web. And, you know, let's get some, especially when you go 17 and larger, I'd like to see a, you know, higher resolution.
I have 2 budget recommendations you could buy 8 of for anyone who's listening in on this.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, have you heard of that Lilliput A12? I know we're talking Lilliput, but Lilliput these days is a whole new Lilliput. They have an A12. It's a 4K native resolution monitor, 12 inches, and it can do quad view, so you can feed it for HD or 4K signals, and that's a great little sucker. And then, of course, what monitors did you use before? Were they Dells? Because another hack is you use those Dell. Yeah. I don't remember the model numbers, but they've got
I have a Dell with a VASA mount that I used for the FS7 for a long time, and it was UHD 4K, so I was getting a 1-to-1 pixel representation. Yeah. So then you don't have to use, you know, expanded focus and even peaking as much, because you're looking at, especially on those larger monitors, it's pretty easy to judge focus when your resolution matches between the monitor and your camera system.
You know, let me add one thing about monitors, since you guys, anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
I put in the chat, I heard somewhere that Canon was rumored to be bringing out a new production monitor at NAB. Just a rumor, but it might be true. But I kind of feel like with production monitors, especially if you're spending that kind of money, you know, they're supposed to last a really long time. So you want to get something that has way more capability than you need right now. So even if you don't plan on using HDR for the next year or 2 or 3, you definitely got to think about HDR. You got to think about BT 2020. You got to be thinking about what's you're going to be needing in 10 to 15 years.
Yep. Would you recommend not buying a monitor now? Because I feel like we're in kind of a interesting.
I mean, you can need one.
I mean, it depends what type of production you're doing, right? I mean, Chadwin is recommending the Sumo. It is an awesome monitor, but I will say this, that if you're shooting outdoors, it is not an awesome monitor. It's so reflective. It becomes, I know that there's solutions, but you're going to cut how much light is coming out of the monitor. But it's a really great solution, the Sumo M, especially if you don't need the recorder. And it's cost effective, but it really is, you know, a little larger, 19 inches, but it is an extremely reflective display. So you have to be aware of that. Flanders Scientific is also the other one that you really have to look at. I mean, they make just really great stuff, but expensive. What's that smirk on your face there, Caleb?
It's going to be like, and you're no longer going to the Sunday night thing.
No, that's not true. I love the Sumo. I've used it. We're actually using it on a production in San Francisco soon, but it's a studio-based production. And I've had a lot of difficulty using that particular monitor in exterior locations. So what I really hope that they do is they come out with a better solution in terms of cutting the amount of light from ambient, but that's the problem with that monitor. That's the reality, my friend.
Well, it's also version 1. You know, it's a version 1 in a potentially long line of monitors. So anytime you get, you know, version 1 of anything, it's you know, it's never the complete picture of what their vision is.
Correct. And let's look at it realistically, Caleb, from the standpoint of Atomos especially. They come out with products on a pretty regular basis. So
True.
I could definitely see revs for the Sumo. I think that they're aware of the pluses and minuses of each product when they create it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the original Ninja? It was like looking through a Coke bottle. I mean, you could barely see the image. It was just an amazing price point for a little small monitor recorder. So they've come a long way, a real long way. So, you know, it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well,
we'll start it. Let's go.
You ready to roll?
Okay.
Ready to roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because it's Cameron and Flask time. Ooh, and guess what? We do this every single week at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Those who have joined for the pre-Flask show, thank you guys. We're going to dive in, and I'm going to start by introducing our fellow people. My name's Caleb Pike. I run DSLR Video Shooter. It's one of those days. And we've got a couple of wonderful gentlemen. Slavik, how you doing, brother?
Hello. Hey, good. How are you?
Repeat special guest again this week from digitalfilmmaker.net, right?
Correct. Taking it all the way back to .biz.
Yes, sir. Okay. And so how you doing? What's going on?
I'm great. I'm just coming at you live from my villain lair. I got a lot of evil plans for this show. Plan to be fired, hope to be rehired kind of deal. So we'll see how it goes.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. And then Mr. Jem Schofield. I see him snickering behind his laptop over there.
The mistakes that I make in life. Slavik, my goodness. Jem Schofield, the C47. You're on my channel for some reason. And thank you for coming every week and hanging out with myself, Caleb Pike. This week, our special co-host, of course, Slavik, but normally in his place is Mr. Ben Barden, who is traveling an enormous distance to get here to NAB in the States, and is going to be dealing with, and we'll have lots of stories for us, as Ben always does, including the fact that one of his flights was canceled, so he'll be doing a long layover in LAX if you want to go and find him sometime around 4 p.m. local time in about an hour and give him shit. So there you go. That's what we got. What are we drinking?
Well, let's go ahead and dive in. And while it's on you, I think.
Okay.
Go for it.
I got a little glass. Okay. Where is the little glass? I got my little glass right here. I think that, so here's the deal. I've had this many times, and it's been a gift from my wife, and Caleb knows all about this. I am having Lagavulin 16 today. You know why? Because when I go to NAB, I will not be able to afford it unless somebody's comping me at one of these parties. So I'm going to have my Lagavulin 16 now, and I'll be like drinking, I don't know, something 10, you know, when it comes to whiskey at the actual show. So I'll be drinking the half decent. It'll be like a Glenlivet 12 is what I'll probably have to drink there. So there it is, Lagavulin 16. What were we going to say, Kate? Yep.
My bottle's long gone. All right, Slavik, what do we got?
Well, I am on a college campus right now, so I'm not really flasking a big amount right now.
Sure.
So I am drinking a Nespresso. I'm almost done with it, actually. It's a coffee that was introduced by George Clooney and Danny DeVito in a commercial that was long misunderstood. Still, a lot of people aren't sure what an espresso is. You go to a mall, so you'll go to an espresso barista, and you'll ask, "What is an espresso?" And the answer is espresso.
It's Nespresso without the N, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I own an espresso machine, and they are fantastic, and I drink many of them all the time. Okay. Yeah. Caleb, what you drinking, brother?
All right. We're gonna do our thing.
Caleb is done with his bottle, he said.
Well, unfortunately, I'm almost done with this one. Usually I at this point bring in a 1.75 because I'm that kind of guy. But today, I've got just this cute.
Oh my God.
Little Makers 46.
Oh my goodness! It is
How
actually
adorable
as
that
you
is.
would say. I knew you were going to say adorable. It is adorable. It's totally adorable.
It's super adorable.
Oh my god!
That's my hand. It's tiny. So yeah, that was a gift from a sister. I've already had this on the show. I'm taking a break from my discovery of what's the least terrible daily driver when it comes to bourbon, scotch, or something brown. So here we go.
Cheers, gentlemen, to NAB 2019.
Slow down.
Oh, come on. I'm waiting. I'm just, we got questions coming in like crazy over here. Hey, Brian.
Okay, we're ready.
Hey, Lakeshore, Studio 4.
Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
Episode 23, I think.
Or 28 if you're Ben. Delicious.
It's like candy.
Caleb, are they done doing the construction? Because your last video was recorded at an ungodly hour in the morning because of construction. Are they done with that now, or?
Yes, painting the building. So they were scraping and all that stuff for a week. So that's over with. And in the final steps, what?
You did a good job. 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
What a rig.
That's not a Caleb. That's not a Caleb time to be filming. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to be talking about NAB. I thought we could talk about let me know what you guys think, but I was thinking kind of predictions, and then wish list stuff. And maybe we'll get into what you guys are personally, when you got some free time and it's research time, you got your notepad out, you're going to go around and do your research, what you're going to be looking for. So, Slavik.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Predictions.
So I just got this loaner ESR, and I just got a notice that I have the S1 coming for a loan too. And I just sent back the A6400. I only reviewed one camera last year, and already in like 3 weeks, this is the time for cameras. Last NAB, the previous NAB before that was about lights, accessories, the next generation of gimbals, batteries, a lot of the stuff that goes along with cameras. And I feel like this is the year for cameras. I know we've had a lot of announcements. I don't think we're really going to get any new cameras per se, maybe the A7S III, but all of the ecosystem around new cameras, I think that's going to be the thing. It's going to be cages. It's going to be power solutions. It's going to be particular, I don't know. It's just a lot, lens adapters, a lot of the things that go along with new camera formats. There's 3 new lens formats that just came out. So new lenses, a lot of the stuff that goes along with new cameras, I think that's going to be the thing this year.
I would agree.
And that's all I have to say. So I'll see you guys in a week. And
okay, well, I'll see you at the show. Thank you for that, Slavik.
I don't know why. That's a good. Right, Jem.
What?
But seriously, anything else? Any other predictions you have?
Okay. Oh, the other thing that
is going to happen.
The other thing, we haven't heard from DJI in a long time, which is like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I really think the next big thing is, I don't know if either of you fly drones. I have the Part 107, my second time. I had to renew it, so I've had it for 2.5 years now. And the thing is that, it's not necessary for people who just fly occasionally. It just feels like a lot of work to learn about charts and navigation and things like that when you just want to fly for, I don't know, a couple of times a year. I think DJI is going to figure that out, because the requirement for a Part 107 is 0.55 pounds and up for a drone. And the last DJI Spark that they released, not the Mavic Air, but the Spark, was 0.66 pounds with battery. So my prediction is they're going to come out with a new 2-axis drone like the Spark, maybe a Spark 2, that will be 0.54 pounds with battery, enough wiggle room that you can put an ND filter on and still be safe, and just totally do away with the need for FAA licensure. So, wish, prediction, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Every week he's got something that we're not thinking about.
There you go.
I like it.
There you go. Jem, predictions. that you can talk about? Predictions. This is like what you think will actually happen or have a good feeling about. Not that you know, obviously, because we can't.
Yeah. Well, I will say I'm not under NDA for a lot of stuff. I do hope that the rumor that the C200, the camera that's filming me right now, is going to get a 10-bit 422 update. The word on the street prior to me seeing that rumor was that is absolutely not going to happen. So I'm really sort of in a 30-70, 70 thinking it's not, 30 thinking it is. But it would be a very smart move because I don't anticipate any digital cinema cameras coming from Canon. The other rumor is because there was some weird posts on Twitter about whether or not Canon is going to do raw out on the EOS R series. And
do you want to take a quick second to talk about that?
Yes, let's go ahead.
Because the story goes like this. A tweet is sent, poll on Twitter from Canon.
Yes.
What do you guys want to learn more about? A survey. Yeah. What are you guys more interested in? Some option I can't recall. And then raw recording, and then they meant and then they changed it to external recording very quickly.
Yeah.
So 3 options
on the
there.
ESR,
I'm sorry. Yeah, on the EOS R. So are we talking? They're trying to get funny, like ew, tease, or are they? Was that a typo, or was it tweeted too early? What do you guys think? Is it real? I think everyone got their panties all jacked up.
Yep.
And then after it was changed, they're still really hopeful. But I don't know.
I think this is a typical situation of somebody making keystroke errors and trying to retract that and making it even worse with the update because it made it even more confusing. I'm not very hopeful that Canon is going to do this with their camera system. If they're not going to give us 10-bit 422 on the C200, why the heck would they give us raw recording on the EOS R? But there might be a play. There might be somebody new in the company, in management that gets to say, hey, look, we're going to change our strategy here. That would be one hell of a pivot for a company like Canon. That's a pivot that I have not seen oftentimes from camera companies. Sony made that pivot at some point. They've done it twice. When they came out with the when they came out with their first Cine Alta camera that had 24 frames per second, and then when they came out with the A7 series, those are their 2 big pivots where they just said, "F it, we'll just put everything in here and see what happens." But Canon doesn't usually pivot.
With the A7S III.
I hope so too. I mean, I hope they really kill it with the A7S III. They have an opportunity here to know what everybody has, and they're waiting. And I don't know if NAB is the show that they're going to do it, but I'd actually would not be surprised, to be honest with you, Caleb, if Sony came out with another digital cinema camera. I think based on their normal revs, I could see maybe not an FS7 III, but I could definitely see an FS5 rev, and taking a lot of the AF technology and face detection technology and finally putting that into a larger sensor camera in that sort of 5,000 to 10,000 price range. And I'm really hoping that Fuji will do something. Like I want a company like Fuji to surprise us and say, hey, look, we've got these cool lenses here. Let's go ahead and give you $5,000 to $10,000 digital cinema camera. So those are things that are not necessarily predictions, but they're more on my wish list. It's hard to gauge NAB anymore because Cine Gear has become an announcement show as well. Yeah. So they're starting to use that show and say, hey, look, if something's not ready by NAB, we can still create as much, if not more, buzz at Cine Gear. So it doesn't necessarily have the same importance for a product launch. Of course, we're seeing a flurry of stuff come out on newshooter.com and Cinema 5D right now in terms of new stuff that's being announced, and there's some cool stuff. I still think there's going to be some surprises, though. I think we're going to get some stuff. Harrison's mentioning a Venice Mini. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that, but they already have their kind of like separated Venice solution, so I don't know if that would happen too.
That Ari though, LF Mini. Woo.
Yeah, well, It is pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
I like imagining my life with the LF Mini, but just moving the decimal one over, so everything's a little bit cheaper. I'm like, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, only $800 for a hard drive. That's $8,000.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna just add or say one thing that Jem was talking about, this dream that Fujifilm will come out with a cinema camera. Something that is like a C100 or FS5, something that is their beautiful sensors and colors in a small format cinema camera. I don't think that will ever happen. Personally, I think that you would have to have some sort of lineage, some camcorder or cinema camera lineage, and they don't have any of that. They have lenses. They have broadcast lenses for sure. They have theatrical lenses, but they've never had any kind of body. And I think that for them to release something, we're just like the cream on top, but there has to be a customer base. Canon has that with LA. That's who supports the C300s, is not people like us, but the dozens of rental houses that are just, that are buying up hundreds and thousands of C300s. So I don't think Fuji will go there, but maybe.
I can't guarantee anything, but I potentially disagree with that. I think that they have put so much into the H1 and the XT3 now that they've kind of started to figure out the formulas, and a larger camera body with ND and other things that they understand as a lens manufacturer aren't necessarily that far reaching. And I'd really like something to come in and challenge the FS5 space. I don't necessarily think they should come in at that 7,500, EVA 1, hopefully an EVA 2 at some point space, C200. But that $5,000 price point space is kind of ripe right now for another camera to come in and challenge that FS5. The challenge might be the FS5 Mark III. We never know what it's going to be.
I agree. I think that's a perfect spot for them to slide in, right? They take what they've learned from the XH1, the XT3, a little bigger body. I mean, even if they just took one of their medium formats and put a super 35mm sensor in it, something like that. I mean, their preamps are getting good. They're figuring out audio. They're a couple ports away from having something.
I think so. I think so.
Who knows? I just feel like that would be. There's so many hipsters who would just run with it, and I totally get what you're saying though. Like if you're talking, rental, that's a whole other level. But
totally $5,000. But $5,000, and they've already got 400 megabits per second. They've already, they've got some pretty good stuff in there.
These days, it's not hard to get RAW going on.
Nope.
I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but when you've got people like Atomos and Blackmagic coming out with solutions that are like plug and play, not plug and play, but you know what I mean? Open source. They don't have to come up with their own thing, essentially.
But isn't the Fuji medium format camera didn't they mess that up? Like, wasn't it just a huge disappointment because it just it's bigger, but it just lacked a bunch of. I mean, here's
not for still photographers. They're not there with video yet on those cameras. They're kind of like where they were with their APS-C cameras. I would say 2.5 years ago. But there's no reason why we can't have a pocket IMAX camera from Fuji in the near future. And maybe that's the route that they'll go, which I've talked about before. I think it's exciting.
So ESR. So I just have this thing, ESR and RAW.
Right.
So I know you're saying it's never going to happen, but Nikon Z6, Z7 already has it with Atomos.
I know.
So why couldn't it come to the Canon? One, because Canon already has the Canon RAW Lite that they've implemented in C200. It would be difficult to believe that they would just abandon it and go with ProRes RAW, 2 years later after announcing this new thing. but Canon has a way of like announcing something really cool, but then giving us a limited version of that. I could see the Atomos Ninja V and ESR working together to do RAW like the C200, but like some crazy limitation, like only 5 minutes at a time or something.
Or only like 24 frames per second in 4K.
There you go. Yeah, something that it would be a great B camera for for C200 RAW shooters, but it wouldn't give you everything that the C200 can provide. I think that's totally possible.
I think, but I think the film guy's right. Nikon doesn't have a cinema line to protect, and neither does Fuji, by the way. You know, like of all the companies that are out there besides DJI, Fuji can take the risk if they want to.
P-log.
Yeah.
You know you want it.
Poop log for you.
PP log.
By the way, Ben has landed. He is in stateside. The Eagle has landed. So I got a little text from him.
Oh, good.
So he's here. So I'm happy to hear that.
I don't know about the EOS R, but just because I think Canon's response would be what they said when a lot of us came to them with the R limitations and said, "What the heck?" And they were like, "Yeah, if you want it, just buy a C200, buy a this, buy a that. What do you?" Like really they would entertain you or they would entertain your questions for a little while, and then after a certain amount of why didn't you just do this or how come it's missing this, they would just be like, just buy a C200, buy a C200.
Yeah, it's true.
You want raw, just buy a C200.
Yep.
You're a video person. Man up, gird up your loins and buy a whatever.
Gird up your loins. Gird up your loins.
Gird up them loins. Get them girded.
Yeah, so let's talk about the unicorn for a minute, if that's okay, Caleb. Let's start about the A7S Mark III. What's your feelings on that for this show? I mean, it's one of the most popular things that people are talking about here in the chat. Any feelings on that?
Well, according to the rumors, we're looking at fall of this year.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason for them to do it right now. I don't think there's any pressure. Nope. Canon's doing Canon thing. I mean, I'm sure they're a little wary of, there's all these rumors of Canon is going to release a pro level full frame, this, that, and the other thing, but we have no dates on any of that. So, and it's such a niche camera. It's not like the A7 III or the A7R III. It's a low megapixel, you know, filmmaker's dream. So yeah, if I were them, I would just wait, get everything fine-tuned. The S1 is out. They know exactly, like you said earlier, they know what's going on.
Wait, what do you mean by niche camera? A7S.
Well, so it's not, I think that what Caleb's saying is that most of the other cameras in this space are true hybrids when we talk about mirrorless. So people are buying those cameras to take high quality professional stills and also to shoot relatively good quality, with some of the cameras, excellent quality video. But the A7S III is, and the Mark I and the Mark II were kind of niche cameras because very little of that, because of the megapixel count, was about taking great photographs, even though they left all of that in the camera. People were buying those cameras for video. But the A7 III is so freaking good, right? That has so many features.
The A7 line, it was not good at stills. Like I could see astrophotography or something.
Sure.
You know, various reasons it would be great. But if you're just a photographer today, you're buying the A7 III without blinking.
Yeah.
You know, unless you really need that resolution to go for the R.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, I was living in Alaska when the A7S came out, and that was the first time we started seeing live video of northern lights rather than time lapse. It was the first camera that could capture, and it was stunning. But I can see how that is just a very small subset of video producers out there. You know, people who shoot in the dark. It's not really a lot of us doing that.
Yeah. I would love to see, and I keep saying this, I would love to go back to what Slavik was talking about with DJI, You have the Zen Muse, which is capable of ProRes RAW. It's got its own line of prime lenses, albeit their own, proprietary mount. I'd love to see them get away from the gimbal form factor for that camera and that whole flow, and give us something that is, more in the. I thought it was going to be last year, but I don't think DJI seems to be the company now that announces not at the shows. They're the ones that make the splashes in between the shows. And so I'm not necessarily thinking that they're going to do that. Blackmagic is going to have their normal press conference in the morning. So we're either going to get 5 new cameras or no cameras, and it'll just be a bunch of new switchers with everything that's been announced already.
Quick thing on Blackmagic, I'm really hoping they do the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, but in the micro form factor. So micro cinema camera 4K.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Hot. Get rid of that display, get that out of my life so we can focus on a smaller, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting cameras, Caleb, what do you think about this new Sony RX0 2 with the little flip-up screen, the 1-inch sensor? That's a crazy little camera.
I don't know what to think about that.
It's so kooky.
It's so weird. I don't know. Tiny sensor, flip-up screen that's impossible to see anything. Big enough sensor where focus is off. You really wish you had a larger screen.
Yeah,
it's just a really interesting, odd camera.
It is.
If Sony figured out their Wi-Fi app, if it was as good as Panasonic's, and again, if you're out there and you have a GH5, you got to get the app and try it. Excuse my dog; he's losing his mind over something.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It'll blow your mind. It's like having a 4-inch 720p monitor. It's amazing. Yep. So if Sony got that going on with that camera, that would be sweet.
I think the RX02 is going to introduce a whole new wave of vloggers under the age of 6. Just a bunch of toddlers running around holding little RX0s.
You're a ridiculous human being. Unbelievable.
And I think Caleb and I should be the first to force our little children into the public sphere. Walk the walk. Walk the walk.
Yep.
You are evil. Look at you.
Hey, can I add some more stuff to DJI? You got me thinking about it. One, they're not done with the Ronin S. There's still more accessories, including the famed 2-handle thing. Like that's got to come out, where you can remove the handle with the battery and then have the motor inside of a more compact package. That's next. But I think that they're gonna also figure out a way to take the compact top part of it and put it on like a motorized slider. I mean, if DJI comes out with a motorized thing that just kills all of the halfway accomplished solutions out there right now, that'll be huge. That'd be huge. Huge. So I think they have a lot to do. But the one thing that I wish that they would do is take the Hasselblad brand that they own now and give us hipsters a Hasselblad camera, a digital one that we can afford.
Are you saying you're a hipster?
Please.
Look at that cardigan.
He's probably more hipster than anybody.
You're like the Ukrainian Mr. Rogers right now. I love it, which is very hipster, by the way. One of my favorite documentaries of all time. But go ahead.
I'm in the hipster evil villain HQ right now.
Oh God.
Yeah, we have a whole team of hipster making ice in the back there. They're making their own little ice.
Sahil gave you a Yugi shout out, by the way. Yeah. You got a Yugi.
Boom.
Nice.
Anyway, so digital Hasselblad that for the everyman. It doesn't even have to be good, but because it's a Hasselblad, we'll probably get one.
Great. Okay, so at this point, we have a little bit dipped into the wish list stuff. A lot bit, maybe, perhaps. So Slavik, you kind of mentioned you thought this would be the big camera year. What do you guys think this year is going to be the year of? Last year, what would you say it was? It was kind of in between year, a little bit of everything.
I mean, it was the beginning of RGB LED, but now it's just explosive.
Part 2 of RGB, and then we also had a lot of not high-end glass and high-end glass. Last year we had Orion, we had small or SLR Magic, a lot of people coming out with glass the Nisi lenses. What do you think is going on with lenses this year?
Well, and also last year was the year that the Aperture 300D, I mean, it was started shipping in 2017, but 2018 is when everybody got it and fixed the green issue.
Yep.
So
and they announced their RGB.
Yeah.
Which will hopefully be done.
So everyone's really just dived into Fresnel lighting, and I think that like it's time for round 2 of that. And the 120D2 is one version of that, but I think it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that for a second and then come back to what you were talking about, Caleb, in terms of lenses and glass.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about anything.
I mean, I think from a lighting standpoint, what I'm most interested in terms of seeking out is lensing LEDs. You know, it's the big shortcoming is that we don't have great hard light solutions for LEDs. We've got tons and tons and tons of soft light solutions. So I'm really hoping that we see a lot more in that space where we are starting to see LECO style modifiers. We're seeing smaller focusable LEDs. And I think that there are, of course, some of the known, you know, quantities out there. Felix, you've got Dado, of course, and some other things that are getting attached to these LEDs. But I hope we're going to get an evolution of chip on board, where they're going to put a lens in front of the chip on board in a different way. And we're going to start to be able to get much tighter beam angles. And we're going to start to be able to shape that light much more along the way that we can with traditional Fresnels and, you know, harder light sources. So that would be a big wish list for me. And I'll be seeking out solutions there. I'm also looking for more compact, more portable modifiers for taking lights and modifying them, because we're getting to the point now. For instance, you have the Light and Motion Stella light. They just announced a new 10,000 lumen light that's like, it's tiny. And so the fact that we can start to carry around these incredibly small, incredibly high output fixtures right now, if we can then take those and create giant 4-foot, you know, sources from them very quickly and easily, I'm really interested in that. So it's that combination of being able to do both from lighting, and it's less about the color component of it. It's more about the shaping of light part of it. And then as just sort of another thing in terms of wish list is, let's get these monitors to match our cameras. And I will be seeking out what monitors people have. I'm hoping to see 4K, you know, bigger color gamut, a higher dynamic range. Those are things that, you know, yes. And an affordable, go ahead.
You think that's going to be, you think that's going to make this year? You think,
no,
that's what Caleb's asking. Is that going to be the thing that marks this year?
Maybe the lighting stuff, but I don't think the monitoring. I think we got another year or so riding the wave of, you know, mediocre, to be honest with you. I mean,
could be a whole nother episode is HDR. I feel like for a while there, we were like HDR. Yeah. And we still kind of are HDR. But I feel like
it is all HDR now, though. It's just the cameras are all HDR, but we can't monitor it. So what the hell are we doing? You know, it's kind of annoying. Yeah.
Well, and the crazy thing is that HDR content on non-HDR monitors looks much worse than if you just had regular content on regular monitors.
Exactly.
So you're taking a huge risk right now with, anyway, we'll talk about, I mean, I won't because I'm fired from the show. but you know, Ben will.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very interesting because if people are enjoying it, but I feel most aren't understanding it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, what's another BS like buzzy wordy thing that happened in like viewing on the viewing end, consumption end? Nothing's been like HDR. HDR is the most garbage filled hype. Like I have companies, I won't name who are trying to get me to cover monitors. They're all HDR, and they're all 220 nits. You know,
any monitor that's over 9 stops of dynamic range is technically HDR. I mean, that's kind of from a marketing standpoint, just in terms of luminance levels. So it's all BS, like you said.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, oh, it's HDR or HDR, depending on where you're from.
It does just a hair more than Adobe RGB or something, and yeah, you know what I mean. It's just a mess right now.
It is a mess. It's a
and no one knows how to do it. It's
except for on the high end, and well, that's a whole different thing.
You know that all the new iPhones have HDR. So a lot of people are watching HDR and don't even know it right now. So that tells you how important HDR is.
And like it's starting to come to the stills end. I think was it Panasonic with the S1? They have an HLG and another HDR profile for stills.
Yeah, so you can shoot. Such a cluster too. Oh my God. Hybrid log gamma. I mean, hybrid log gamma was designed for broadcast television. That's what it's for. And the whole idea is to say, you can take one of these cameras and you put it into this mode. And what we're going to do is we're essentially going to roll off the highlights. That's look at the curve. The curve is the same. And all of a sudden it's don't even get me started.
HDR, everybody. And here's the thing that makes it even worse. I get daily emails of people like, Caleb, why aren't you covering the HLG profiles on the Sony cameras? Because like it's really hot right now to shoot in HLG and modify the settings, and that's where you get the best everything.
And
it's just, I mean,
poppycock.
It's shoot log HDR10.
I'm so much more interested in Bart Johnson's suggestion, which is a lightweight C-stand with an electromagnetic base that can pull towards the Earth's core so it is still stable. That is what I'm looking for right there.
So I don't know where we are anymore. We talked about HDR. Good.
You said you started this off by what's going to be the thing that makes this year.
Right. The year of. I don't think HDR
Slavik
RGB will be everywhere, but will it be raw? Will it be raw? I feel like we're close to like raw
next year
for the masses. Really close. Okay.
Next year. They're gonna be screaming raw from the balcony.
Right.
But it's next year is when we're gonna see the shakeout, when it's like, are we using BMD raw? Are we using ProRes raw? Or what's the deal with all of that? That's my prediction. Sorry, Slavik. I'm coming back to you.
You know what? I think Sean Conley's hit it on the nail of the head. It's the year of full frame. Full frame is back.
Wasn't that 2009 that was the year of full frame?
10 years later. Yeah, we're back.
It's come back full circle.
Yeah. And conveniently, we all forgot how much of a pain it was shooting full frame on a 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
Nailing focus. Anyway, but that's probably that was probably what we would call 2019 is the year of full frame, for sure.
I hope we get back to non-gimbals. I'm over gimbals, and of course, I'm kind of on a high of feeling that way after the video I just did. But I wonder if we're going to see like a resurgency. Everything's going to be 24 the show again.
Yeah,
people are someday they're gonna wake up and be like, huh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but have you seen, I mean, I just tested this ESR last night. I just got it, and I tested handheld with the digital stabilization. And like if I hold it just like this, it's fine.
Bring your level down a little on your mic, Slavik. Just tiny bit. Just a touch, a scotch.
If I hold the camera like this, it's fine. But if I just tap it, the whole image just starts warping.
On the EOS R?
Jello, yeah.
It's super. Anything Canon electronic stabilization is the worst.
So, I mean, unless IBIS is amazing on other cameras, do we really think that gimbals are going to go away anytime soon?
I think so. I think IBIS is, if it can, I'm sure it's similar to like, you know, how Canon like put a lot of money into focus. They're dual pixel.
Yeah.
Jem and I were talking about this, I don't know, months and months ago, maybe last year, how each company has like, they've got their thing where they really figured it out. And Canon hasn't put a nickel until now into, you know, sensor stabilization. Sony's okay. Panasonic, which they're kind of cheating because they have previously the Micro Four Thirds system. But I think that's where things are going, is the ability to, if they can get it figured out where they can lock the sensor. Let me try this real quick. This is kind of dangerous, but I'm going to try it anyway.
Live on the edge.
These sensors are just floating in a magnetic field when they're not activated.
Kind of like the C-stand that Bart wants.
Yeah, exactly. So you can still get some funky stuff even with it turned off. So I'm going to zoom in here.
Whoa.
Oh,
I'm going to take this lens off.
God. Start the music. Here we go.
So is that in focus?
Yeah,
it's totally in focus. Yeah. No,
so watch the sensor of this GH5.
Can you stop down a third of a stop?
It's not going to work, is it? Without a tripod.
I don't know. Can you stop down a third of a stop if you can? Just so that we can. Let's help.
I didn't mean for this to be like a giant thing.
No, we like giant. Let's go.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's I need it on a tripod.
Because what do you see normally?
If my hand wasn't moving, the sensor just sloshes around. If this was locked in on a tripod,
it just goes all over the place. And how much it
won't show up, but it's really something else to watch. So anyway,
and they have it pretty down. That's the GH5, right? Not the S.
And there's a mode on this thing called shoot. I can't remember what it's called, but you flip a switch or you can program it to a button, and you can be on a 300 millimeter lens pointed at an airplane in the sky, and you press this button, and it's like you're locked off on a O'Connor. It's
how much do you lose of your image when you do that to compensate?
Very minimal.
Really?
And there's certain modes that you don't lose anything on the camera.
Interesting.
If you go, because they do have electronic stabilization that you can add on top of the sensor or the sensor stabilization. But it's really, really good. The Canon stuff is another trick you can do is point the camera at a tree branch that's moving in the breeze.
Gotcha, Sean.
And watch. It's like you're drunk.
Yeah, amazing.
Everything but the plant moves. It's amazing.
I wish, what I wish somebody would do though is take the clear image zoom that Sony has and start putting that into more of the cameras too.
That's super smart. Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, you can take a prime lens and change your field of view 1.5x in 4K and it looks great, I'd like to see more of that.
Well, cameras like this have that. It's just that you have to go and change from HD to super cropped 4K mode.
Yep. I just like the Sony implementation though, because it's just you can zoom in and out. It's smooth. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
we need that JVC Mark II, that LS 3000 Mark II.
That's right. Yeah.
It has a circle, and you could put any lens on the camera and literally use the zoom rocker to put the circle into the non-vignetted area.
Has anybody tried the Nikon P1000 that can zoom from a mile or something?
No. Oh, the all-in-onesie?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, so on the topic of gimbals, I don't think they're going away, but I sure hope that the one-handed gimbals go away because they are absurd. They're getting crazy. It's not the natural way to hold any kind of thing. Two handles is where it's at. Why can't they just take the thing design and put it sideways so that we can have very compact gimbals, just like your handheld rig, Caleb?
Yeah.
If they could have that with a gimbal with 3 axis in that, boom. But
that's what I'm talking about for the Zen Muse. That's what I want for the Zen Muse is a tiny little, it doesn't have to be an Osmo. It's just a little tiny little compact, ProRes RAW or whatever you want to call it, interchangeable lens system camera that is this small, but it's really a camera and it just has exceptional stabilization in it. It's just too many parts now. And you've got to plate it and you've got to put it on here. And I'm kind of I'm with the Caleb Club here. It's like, I'm excited. I'm getting my new CX8s coming in from Miller, and I'm going to have some really, really good quality tripods, and I'm excited about that and having a good quality shoulder rig, and that'll get me really far. So,
Don't get me wrong. I think gimbals have some amazing uses. I mean, I am tired of influencer-y, floaty, run around a person at 120 frames per second, everything.
Yeah.
No, I think a dual handle that's lightweight and small, compact, easy to set up. And they're I think what's cool is the stronger motors, not only adding more weight to them, but the fact that you don't have to perfectly balance necessarily and still get a good, smooth.
Well, and you can actually touch the camera while you're zooming or focusing, whereas the old gimbals, old by 2 years ago, if you just touch it, it'd be like,
right.
Yep.
And that's one thing that clients love to see is your equipment just having a seizure.
Well, somebody could do something pretty cool, which which is Tilt is already starting to make these tiny little follow focus motors,
oh my
right?
Gosh, so good.
And $229. Why can't they design a dual handled gimbal system for mirrorless cameras that has all of that stuff built in, so that you can basically have a two-handled system where you can fizz the camera without having to, muck around with a lot of stuff. And the only thing that you really have to do is attach the motor to the lens and the lens gear. And so you basically attach whatever camera system you have. Maybe it can go up to a 1DX Mark II, and it's as small as a XT30. And you basically can take any of those cameras and you can do some really cool stuff. And we're starting to see some really cool stuff now too, like Small HD starting to work with Teradek, and they're starting to do some stuff with camera data coming up onto external screens that are not the manufacturers. So that's also a trend that I think we're just starting to see, where you're going to be able to buy a monitor and you're going to be able to see data related to the camera system you're using, and that's going to be very useful as well. But that's a whole lot of stuff I'm talking about. But I would, yeah.
What, Caleb? If you have something like the Movi Carbon, but in a smaller level, where it's a pre-designed, it's a camera that has a lens that you essentially keep on there with one of those follow focus and a gimbal thing. And the whole point is it's not made for every camera on the planet, but it's made for that combo. The GH5 with a 16-50, and they sell that as a package, just like they sell Atomos monitors and GH5s as a package. And you have this thing, and it's perfectly balanced. Like, that would be awesome. And you don't really need to have a gimbal. You don't really need a gimbal to be able to support focal distances of 40 millimeters and longer. You really just want a small package anyway.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if there were smart gimbals. You just put a camera on it and hit a button, and it'll say, "Nope, can't do it," or "Oh, I got you," and it like balances it for you.
Yeah, I mean, there is auto tuning now, and the motors are getting strong enough that you could just basically go through a menu like you do on an Atomos monitor and say that I've got a Canon EOS R or I've got a XT3 or whatever it is, and you put in the lens that's on it, and then boom, it's like you give it a starting point and it just goes too. That would be pretty cool. I'd love something like that.
Lasers though that like measure. Oh, there's no 7200
Red Rock's
on
do
here.
That. Red Rock's will do that for you.
There you
go. That's what you get.
There was an article a few years ago. Speaking of news shooter, I'll be reporting for news shooter next week at NAB. Little plug.
Plug.
They had an article 2 years ago about a self-balancing gimbal that was in testing stage, and it was supposed to be like $20,000. And 2 years ago, people were like, "Damn, I would pay for that." And this is how far we've come in 2 years. Now there's auto balancing and profiles built into iOS apps.
Yeah. Okay, so we're down to the final 12 minutes. What are you guys shopping for? What are you looking forward to? If you have something, I feel like each year I have something that like, oh, I'm gonna check this out, or I'm looking for XYZ, or I would love to find or see an XYZ, and you start hunting. You go on the hunt. What you got, Slavik?
No, Jem, you go first.
I'm just looking for things that at this point are going to hopefully be in my kit permanently. You and I, Caleb, get shit in all of the time. We're going to get exposed to a lot of things. But what is the stuff that I'm going to put into my case every single day? I'm interested in seeing solutions that are going to help my life when it comes to using smaller cameras when it's related to ND and filtering. And I don't think there's enough of that out there right now. I think we could see an evolution in that space. I think the monitor thing will chug along the way it's going to chug along. And as I said, I'm looking for better ways to modify the LED solutions that we're seeing now. I'm also looking for some other things when it comes to just sort of post-production. One of the biggest trends now when we're creating content online is to have closed captioning. And I'm hoping that we get better solutions having to do with that, because people constantly watch videos now with their sound off. And I find that when somebody has closed captioning or subtitles or whatever you want to call it in terms of that solution, that there are times where I'll just watch an entire video without the sound on, and just so I can ingest some content and not bother people around me. you know, and I think that works out really well. So, and I'll also be looking for storage. I'll be looking for solutions that are more compact, more portable for storage solutions. We're starting to see some changes in terms of SSD solutions out there for us. And Caleb, you and I have talked about this many, many times. So the initial conversations I've had with companies like Glyph and G-Tech are promising. I think they're understanding the needs of what we might potentially want going forward. And I'm hoping to see some, maybe not this year, but in the next year or so, some big advances in terms of being able to deal with and be more compact with all of these cameras that we're using. So I think I'm going to be looking for stuff like that at the show. Of course, I'll be looking for audio and other lighting fixtures and things like that. But it's finding those unique things that could be in my bag all of the time that I'm most interested in, and that's what I'm going to be seeking out.
That's a great feeling when you've got the thing that fills that need in production, and you're like, "That's it, I'm out." Like for me, that's the Mix Pre 3 for audio.
Totally.
It's over.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Yeah,
$650 or whatever, and I'm peace. Have a good.
Yeah.
Godspeed, everyone. They asked me like, "What's the best H4n X6Y?" All the Zoom and Tascam stuff that comes out all the time, and I just don't know.
But what if they come out with a Mix Pre 1?
Mix Pre 1, like, that would be sexy. One knob, one XLR jack.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No. I think it's great to say that. I mean, it's kind of like that for me with the Sony UWP dual channel receiver. It's like, you know, it can get better, and we've got some stuff coming from Deity, but that's 2.4 gigahertz, so it has its pluses and its minuses. But that dual channel receiver from Sony, it's like I can use that on dock stuff all the time. I can use a plug-in transmitter. I can use, you know, wireless lavs. I can use all of that stuff, and it's really great for small to no crew production. For $699, it's kind of like it does the job. It solves the problem. Slavik, like, what about you? Yeah,
that's what the Ronin S was when it came out. It just solved the gimbal problem. Like it just works. We're done, and don't have to think about it, at least until there's some smaller version of it, two-handed. But
sure.
For me, what I am looking to is what I'm trying to figure out, what camera system is the next system I'm investing in for like the next 5 years. Because right now it could be
brutal.
And
3 years. Come on, be realistic.
3 years. It could be Panasonic. It could be Nikon. It could be Fuji. It could be Canon RF. Brand new lenses. Because I was thinking, like, well, I have so much invested in EF, and then when I put it together, I'm like, you know, it's not really that much. I could sell my 4 or 5 big lenses in a heartbeat and start over. And there's a lot of choices right now, and I just feel like I need one push from one of the camera manufacturers to be like, that's it. That's what I'm doing for the next few years.
I want to say something. Tyler, you said something about, if anything, with ACES will be pushed this year. I think we're going to see some interesting stuff from Film Convert. That's all I have to say. Okay, let's keep going.
Nice.
Not having to do with ACES, by the way, but think about ACES and think about solutions having to do with matching cameras. And I think there's going to be some interesting stuff that's going to be happening in the post world too. I might actually take a little trip over to the South Hall with my buds and see if we can find some cool stuff.
Yeah. That's
what about you, Caleb?
That's my Wednesday is go over to South Hall and nerd out.
Yeah.
For me, it's infrastructure stuff. For the channel, for just the studio. Because I not only do the YouTube thing, but also do this premium content, which I'm hoping to amp up even more this year and do a lot more of. So I'm trying to think of ways to, you know, triple or double, you know, efficiency when it comes to data, when it comes to multicam situations. And also I'm kind of with Slavik. I'm trying to figure out what camera system I want to go with for that setup. Because I've got a GH5 and a GH5S that could work. But if I want to do 3 of the same cameras, same lenses, same everything, same kind of log profile, whatever that's going to look like, need to figure something out. And I'm not quite sure yet. I mean, the GH stuff is what I've been using, and it's great, but it'd be kind of nice to have face auto detection. You know,
Sure.
like I use Sony A7 III and an A6400 for my Fuji X-T3 guide, which is coming up.
Yeah.
And that was really nice. Then again, I'm just sick of that mushy 8-bit 420 garbage.
Well, they got to figure that. Yeah, they got to fix that. I mean, that's their biggest downfall right now is that crappy codec.
That gets solved, I don't worry about the color science. Like, it's just the banding. If I could put a LUT on it from Sony and it didn't band in certain scenarios, I'd be happy. So yeah, I totally get it. And the whole mount thing is just going to be brutal for the next probably like 10 years until one pulls ahead. You know, you got the just so many mounts. I am really excited about that. Did you guys see that E mount to NF mount or Z mount?
No.
Adapter?
Yeah, there was just somebody was talking about it in the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's an adapter that's supposedly going to come out that gives you great autofocus using Sony lenses on a Nikon camera.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to the adapter life, which is coming up.
Well, but even Canon's native system is the adapter life, so I think there's no escaping it. I think we're just gonna.
Well, that's kind of seamless-ish.
Yeah,
right.
Seamless-ish. Yep.
It's kind of awkward looking, but it'll work.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
So, what are you seeing over here? Is any comments or anything that we want to bring up?
Yeah, I think now would be a great time to slip into the old comments section here.
Eva 2, I think we could see it. Maybe not at NAB, but it's due for a new monitor and a body that.
Somebody commented a while ago about the Zcam E2. Has anybody spent any time thinking about the Zcam?
Oh, I want to pick one up, but that's one more camera and another $2,000. You know.
Yeah.
If Blackmagic, if it got raw, that could be kind of interesting.
Yep. Bushido Photo LLC. If I did the Scott Kelby or Creative Live thing, could I drink Nika whiskey as I'm doing it? Maybe not Suntory because I'm partial to Nika, but there you go. That's my question for you. Yes, I want the Ninja Star 4K. Let's get real here.
It's not going to happen.
It's a unicorn. It's a unicorn. It's a yeah.
What did you say that's going to happen? Oh, Ninja Star 4K.
Somebody told, I don't know who it was that it's just the amount of support that it takes to support a product ended up being more expensive than the cost of admission for the Ninja for Atomos. It's just
I'm in the whisper sweet nothings into Jeremy's ear at NAB, and we'll see if we can get a 4K Ninja Star. I'm just kidding. Cool. Bicolor aperture 120D would be awesome.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Neither do I. Not this year.
Next year. Yeah.
Next year for sure. Yeah, I think we kind of can guess what the roadmap for aperture is going to be as a company.
Copy paste what they did last year, but brighter.
Exactly.
Sean Conley says he has a Zcam. And they are announcing soon Super 35 6K and full frame 6K and 8K soon. And and RAW is coming. And I think right now it goes to ProRes.
I mean, you have a Zcam? Oh, interesting.
This thing is very interesting. Philip Bloom has one, and he's been using it in some of his reviews.
Interesting.
Sound.
I'll always be looking for sound. And then Caleb got bored of us, so he said goodbye. I'm out.
Okay.
We get the logo. There he is. He's back.
Google.
What happened?
Be logged in again.
Unbelievable. Okay. So, Caleb, we're gonna wrap this thing up, aren't we? But
we are.
Is there anybody else? I mean, I'm excited.
Design come back. Oof. That's sad tale.
God, we won't talk about that. We love their stuff. Here's what I want to say, and then Caleb, you guys will do your sign offs. NAB 2019 will all be there. Slavik will be behind camera with Eric Naso in front of camera. So God knows what's going to happen there, but I'm sure In and Out or Shake Shack will be part of the equation. But what?
If Eric Naso eats something and gets sick one day, weirdly, I don't know. I might have to be in front of the camera for some of the.
You are such a cheeky bastard. Okay. But for Camera and Flask on Tuesday, which is April 9th, I believe. At what is going on? Battery exhausted, Caleb. Okay. He's getting ready for NAB. So Tuesday, now your battery's exhausted. We see black.
Oh, did it say that?
yeah.
That's
amazing.
Great. That's wonderful.
So, so 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So Tuesday, April 9th at 3 p.m. between the South and Central halls, there's a beer place. It's outside. It's messy. The tables won't be clean. But Caleb, myself, and Ben will be there. If Slavik is not, chained to a camera, maybe he'll be there too. But he probably won't be. But he's definitely welcome. But Tuesday at 3 p.m. between Central and South halls. Tell everybody, come over. We'll have a beer. We'll have a chat. And I'm excited to see anybody who's coming to the show. We'll also be walking around and going places. So if you bump into us, let's talk and have a little conversation. I know that I have a lot of appointments, so if I say I've got to go somewhere, I really do. But I look forward to seeing everybody at the show and everything else that comes with it. What about you, Slavik?
What about me?
Tell us about. You just have to do your sign off.
Oh, right. So yeah, this has been really great. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot as always from you guys. I'm looking forward to NAB. I'll be with News Shooter for the week, but under my News Shooter shirt costume, I will be rocking a digital filmmaker shirt. So don't tell my bosses, but I'll be representing.
I think you just did, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
your bosses are all of our friends anyway, but that's okay.
We're good. Anyway, so it'll be fun. As always, NAB is a whirlwind, and I actually don't even really have time to take everything in until like after NAB. Like the week after is when I go back and read all the posts and really digest it.
I think you're a genius over there, Caleb. What is going on? Let's see your sign off. Let's see your sign off.
My sign off. First of all, I'm going to show this prototype. I can't really talk about, but I thought I'd show you guys
all your NDA
this week. And subscribe to this channel so you can watch this all the time, and it'll be great. God bless America. See you guys the show.
Thanks, Caleb. See you.
All the best. Love you guys, and see you at NAB. Everybody who's going to the show, safe travels, and looking forward to seeing everybody there at the show. All the best.
Love everybody. Cheers.
Okay, see you. Bye.